have that. Okay, we're missing a couple people. Okay, we're all set to go. We do have a couple recommendations that came out of the in-camera, and
Just need to open up an executive session, then just to move on.
okay, where's that?
Just on this page.
Okay, I need a mover and seconder. We now need a mover and seconder to adjourn the closed session at 6:19 p.m. and reconvene in open session. Mover and a seconder, Sonnenberg and Geisens at 6:19 p.m. Those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Now we're moving on to appointment to a board or committees, and this is the staff report DCS 1832, the Port Dover Harbor Museum Advisory Board Committee. Mover and a seconder, Wells and Sonnenberg. That report DCS 1832, the Port Dover Museum Advisory Board appointment be received as information, and that Margaret Bancroft be appointed as a member at large for a 3-year term effective immediately until November 30th, 2020. Any discussion? Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And we have one more, and I'm going to ask the clerk to read this one.
Okay, so the motion that we have, or the recommendations, is that staff report ECS 1810, which is 400 and 404 Main Street, Port Dover, municipal parking opportunity be received as information, and that council direct staff to discontinue any work associated with the potential acquisition of 400 and 404 Main Street, Port Dover, and further that staff report ECS 1810 remain confidential.
You heard the recommendation. Mover and a seconder, Luke and Sonnenberg. Any discussion? Those in favor? Two is carried unanimously. Thank you. And that's it for our in-camera sessions. And now we will go to other business. So we'll start on the far left here with James.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have nothing to add this evening.
Nadine Yakov, Mr. Baird, over to Ms. Robinson, Ms. Miranda, Mr. Cridlin, Deputy Clerk. Nothing. Okay, pretty quick. Councilor Sonnenberg. Sonnenberg, right, okay, sir. Councilor Geisens. Councilor Wells. Okay. Councilor Black.
There's notice of motion here. Yeah, question through you to Lee. I think it was today somebody asked me about Queen Street and Union Street. This goes to, yeah, Lee. I guess staff were directed to put up the 40-kilometer reduced speed limit around the schools. So on Queen Street North, across from Ecole Sainte Marie, and close to the intersection, the light intersection there of Cedar and Maple, when you're going south, it says 40 kilometers. Then when you get to just before Union Street and the crosswalk, the sign says 50 kilometers. And it seemed kind of odd that the speed would go up right at the crosswalk. So why is that 50? Well, I think I know why the 50 kilometer is probably there, because there was a dimension or a length requirement. So that's where it was. But how come staff couldn't have put that 50 kilometer on the other side, the south side of Union Street, to increase rather than right at the crosswalk?
Through the chairman to council, I'm not sure off the top of my head. I can certainly look at it and, if necessary, move the sign or report back as to why it's in that specific location.
Okay, yeah, just have a look at that for yourself, because honestly, it just doesn't make sense, and all it needs to be is is moved. So if you wouldn't mind having a look at it, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Councilor Brunton? Councilor Oliver? And Mayor Luke?
Three very quick things as usual. I didn't bring it with me, but in my desk, I did receive last week a report from the SWIFT, high-speed internet, from their annual general meeting, which highlights 2017's activities and the 2018. Things are moving along very well, in my opinion. So if any of you would like to look at that, let me know, and I will get it to you and throw it in your courier. And I will be going to WOWC Western Wardens this Friday. I think Mr. Cribbs is also will be there in London, and I'll get a more update on Mr. Chair, the SWIFT project moves along. Reminder number 2, that Eat, Drink Norfolk is again being held at the Odd in Simcoe this Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's their 9th. I heard it was their 9th, which, boy, it's been around a while. Anyhow, I wanted to mention that. And finally, very pleased to, you've heard this, but very pleased to say that the Holy Trinity Titan hockey team won recently an OFSSA, the Ontario Federation Secondary School Association Championship. That's significant because that is the first in Norfolk County, and it's very similar to an All-Ontario for a junior team or a minor hockey rep team. So that's the first in the history of Norfolk County. That's quite a feat. And so I say congratulations to that team and organization on behalf of council, a first for Norfolk. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Councilor Oliver?
Mr. Chairman, just like the winner of the Super Bowl gets to meet with the President of the United States, maybe the Holy Trinity hockey team would come and meet with Mayor Luke here at some time. But,
Mr. Chairman, thank you, Councilor Oliver, or with Mr. Trump. What are you laughing at? I've actually had a request from someone asking if they could be recognized here, and of course, my response was that that's what we do now for all teams, recognize them at the Sports Hall of Fame and their annual Parade of Champions in October. And I mean, you know, if it's really important that they come and be recognized, I'll ask council if they want to do that, make an exception, but that's really what now is the territory of the Hall of Fame. But thank you, Councilor Oliver.
Okay, while we're talking about champions, just wanted to mention that the Delhi Pee Wee hockey team won the rep team, won the OMHA championship, okay? So they too will be recognized in the true form that Mayor Luke mentioned. And I do have a question for Ms. Robinson. I've been getting questions about the connecting link in Delhi. When will that, we received 1.254 million from the province, or we're getting that. When will that project be scheduled for construction?
Through the chairman to council, we received a letter from the ministry advising that we were getting the funding. We haven't seen the agreement, we haven't seen the dates or anything to that extent. As council is aware, it wasn't actually scheduled to take place in 2018, so we need to get the dates from the province so then we can make the work plan match the dates so that we can ensure that we receive the funding. And until such time as we receive the information from the province, we're not going to be able to advise as to the detailed schedule.
Okay, thank you for that. Councilor Black?
I did have something else, if you don't mind. I brought,
Is this a commercial?
no,
Okay,
It's,
I'll let you go.
I brought this month's Municipal World magazine. Like all the councilors get it, and I know how busy you are, but I don't know if you've read some of these. There's some interesting articles that I'd like to draw to your attention to. One is on cannabis, so that's timely, and amalgamation. So I thought that article was pretty interesting. And in hindsight, it says if annexation increases density, then per household spending is reduced. Whereas if density is reduced, per household spending increases. So which category are we in? We're in the bottom one, where if density is reduced, then the per household spending increases, meaning, our development is spread out. And, in more compact developments, the costs for supplying municipal services goes down. So, in hindsight, was amalgamation a real good thing for Norfolk County? I'll leave it with you. But, and what it did say, and maybe what should have occurred was, instead of amalgamation, examining other avenues such as consolidations of specific services. I think that was mentioned 18 years ago, contracting out, or I guess apparently the British Columbia model of local governance that relies on cooperation among local governments. And then the second thing that I found interesting in an article about the mid-sized cities, just one small quote here. Any city that is building a new arts center, arena, or college on its greenfield suburban edge is missing an opportunity to revitalize its downtown. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Wells.
Jared, we any idea when this clock is going to get fixed up here?
The clerk tells me soon. Okay. Yeah, I've been looking at it. I've been looking at it all night too, and it's the same time. Okay, there's no other business, so this meeting is adjourned.